Hello everyone, welcome back to the Keep Productive YouTube channel. It's Francesco here, and we're in for a little bit of a treat today. We have the brand new block by block Notion event, which we're going to be covering the main keynote, doing a little bit of build up here, helping you to understand the event a little bit more and to navigate it best you can. So I'm really excited to join, for you to join us over the next sort of maybe sort of hour or so as we essentially cover what we need to know about Notion. So the sort of layout of this will be there'll be some build up, and the first sort of 30 minutes will be talking about things like the rundown of the events, key people, and just give you an idea of essentially what you need to know about Notion. So obviously, we will be then cutting to the keynote, which will be hosted by Ivan, Michael, and Olivia. And what we'll be doing there is showing you it in real time. And I might jump in occasionally if there's a new feature or a mention, and fanboy. However, it will be a really interesting one. Hopefully I won't talk too much while we actually do the thing. So let's have a little bit of a dig into the actual event. So Notion have been doing this. I believe this is their second year now. Let me just make myself smaller. So it's their second year now doing this block by block event. And for those who don't know, it's essentially their virtual conference. And what they'll do today is they have two sort of tracks. Much like most events, sort of tech events, you have tracks where you can go down different tracks for what your sort of goals are. There's going to be a personal one and a teams one. So for personal productivity, you're going to be looking at that sort of track. Obviously, you can jump over to any of the stages, but you can also go on the team success one. Now, you'll have to sign up to the hop-in event, which is below, if you want to watch past the keynote. And what we'll do is cover the keynote here, and then we'll sort of push you towards the other speakers of the day. They've got a fantastic roundup of people today. So I'm very excited to catch what I can. Obviously, after 6 o'clock, I'll be getting some dinner. But at the same time, hopefully I'll be able to catch one or two of them. So let's speak a little bit about the agenda. So the first thing you'll actually see here is that 9 a.m. or 5 p.m. UK time, in about half an hour, we'll get the keynote. And for those who are a little bit curious of what the keynote will cover, is you will get Notion's roadmap being discussed. It says here, new feature releases. That sounds like it could be upcoming ones, but they might tease us with things that they've just launched. Hopefully not. I've been chatting in the hop-in chat, and some people are saying, oh, maybe they will release some, maybe they won't. And a look at how you can create a more connected company with Notion. Now, one of the things you'll need to know is Ivan, the CEO of Notion, will be joining you. Olivia Notilbaum, again, I'm going to butcher people's names. She is the Chief Revenue Officer. She was previously the COO at Dropbox and worked with Google. Michael Manapat, Head of Engineering at Notion. Probably two sides of the sort of business, the money side, the sort of driving the future growth, and then the sort of actual behind the scenes stability of Notion. So two very well qualified people. Michael himself was previously at Stripe and Google. At Stripe, he particularly focused on applied machine learning. Might be a hint towards what they'll talk about, but let's see. I don't want to give any too higher expectations. So they're calling that one the Building New Types of Connections, a look at what is next. So I'm super interesting. It's really surreal for me because when I... Oh, there we are. When I was with Ivan, they were only, I went over to San Francisco and met with the team, and there was only 15 of them, and now there's loads of them. It's crazy. But it's really great to see how they've evolved. I don't know why I just did that and cut myself back to chat, just showing technical abilities that I have. And then we'll basically, there's two sort of keynote speakers in this. There's Ira Glass, who will be speaking with Akshay, who is the COO of Notion, super smart guy. And they'll be talking about sort of the creative process. Then later, I'm just going to skip by these, we'll have, later in the day, probably I'll be asleep by this time, maybe, because it's late in the UK, but I'll probably watch the rerun of this one, is Martha Stewart, really well-known lifestyle brand she's built, obviously, and she'll be chatting with the head of customer experience. So in terms of actual specific streams you can go down, I said there was a personal productivity and a team success, and you can jump between the two. I'll show you what it'll look like in a minute in terms of the visuals. So the personal productivity one will be run by Francis Matthews and August Bradley, two fantastic Notion creators. Francis specifically with her templates, and August specifically with his design system that he's done in terms of actually how to organize your life. So they'll be teaching you about sort of bigger life goals and planning, whilst if you're looking at the team side of stuff, there's going to be Olivia will stay on, and so will Michael, and they'll be chatting with the Gong president and Miro CRO about prioritizing teams and scaling growth. Then you're going to cut to Marie and Kay. I mean, what a lineup for if you want to go for an extreme learning of Notion. Taking Notion to the max is their one on the personal productivity side, and then you're going to look at practices for great teams, Branch, Typeform, Loom, all really well-renowned companies for how they've been running it, run by Monica Perez. And then you'll cut to Thomas, Frank, and Marina. I mean, these Marina runs Lingua Marina, I think it's called, her channel. Again, Thomas, also a YouTube creator, but also working on Standard and Nebula. But essentially, he's going to be talking about how to, well, both of them are going to be talking about how to build as a creator and how to create that inside of Notion. Obviously, Thomas has got his new course out more recently. And then you've got Building a Connected Company with Tarek and Roberta. Tarek is from Bumble, and they're going to be talking about fostering transparency and collaboration. And then you've got a big old Martha Stewart session, and then they're going to finish off very late. It will be very late in the UK with some live music and chat with fellow attendees. And then there's some office hours that will happen that you can drop into APIs, wikis, docs, and project management. So I'm actually going to show you what it looks like inside of the Hopin. So essentially over the next, we'll be broadcasting the keynote and I'll be doing the live reactions to it. But this is where you'll be able to watch all of the stages. So you'll have to sign up. I believe you can still register now. I assume so, because obviously people are jumping. Apparently 25,000 people have signed up, which is absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, it's got a schedule for the event, and you can create your own agenda. You can add it to your calendar if you want to, which is really cool. Now, the thing that you'll need to know is when this goes live, I'll probably show you how to do it in a moment, is when it comes to stages, you'll have to go to certain stages, like I think it's like the keynote stage and things like that, which will be really, really cool. So as you can imagine, a great way for you to jump between different things, take some notes in Notion, obviously. I'm just going to see if there's any comments. A couple of folks, Ben from Notion, he just commented saying, great to see you, Francesco. Good to see you too, Ben. And a couple of other folks, Seth, Andy, Majuma, and Majuma saying August Bradley, and I am excited to see August as well. Thank you for the introduction. I can't catch the whole event. But yeah, a lot of people saying that they are unable to attend the event. A lot of people saying that lands with picking up the kids, which is totally acceptable. I've just seen on this live feed, Alexi from the Notion team has said we'll have recordings available on the YouTube channel 48 hours after the event. Be sure to subscribe to Notion's YouTube channel. And I believe they did say that the recordings will be available through Hopin as well, maybe earlier. However, it'll be interesting to see. Now, I'm just going to touch on a few things. I think for those who might particularly be interested, I just want to run over the agenda and what I'd recommend to go and see. Well, actually, I'm going to say what I'm going to go and see if I watch it afterwards. So my biggest recommendations is to watch the keynote. Ira Glass is probably going to be a really interesting one. If you're into the sort of goals aspect of things, I think Francis and August's one's going to be fantastic. Again, I think Marie and Kahi will be brilliant. I would probably go for this one, the practices of great teams, just because I'm interested in how how they're sort of building the culture in and things like that. Although I will link to Marie's Notion Mastery in the description below. That will be an affiliate link. However, I think her course is fantastic. And then for a lot of people, this might not be relevant with Marina and Thomas, obviously, unless you're creating videos. But I'd check out the Building a Connected Company. I think that'll be quite interesting. And obviously, one of the biggest hyped events is Martha Stewart. One thing I'd say as well, it's really crazy, like how productivity in the last year, the last 2 years, has caught the attention of big, I guess, mainstream media. Stephen Fry did the Spark Mail trailer, and I think that's absolutely crazy, which is really, really cool. I've just got a comment here saying, will you publish the full keynote? I will cover the keynote and I'll share the audio. And what I will be doing, guys, is I'll jump in when I think something looks good, or specifically on features. I'll try and keep the audio on just for you guys to listen to. I'll also mute this sort of backing audio as well that you might hear too. But honestly, it will be great to sort of watch along. I've never done this before, so if you do enjoy this, let me know. We also have a fundraiser so if you're interested in sending a super chat or anything like that, just submit the same amount to the fundraiser, please. And that obviously goes towards a really important cause at the moment. So I wanted to talk about the likelihood of Notion releasing new features. So as I said, they have their CRO, which is their chief revenue officer there, as well as head of engineering. That's great because you get sort of the whole collective company. Notion specifically mentioned here, Notion's roadmap. And one of the things that we've seen in the last year, and I'm going to bring it up, is actually the fact that Notion doesn't talk as much about their let me show you. They don't talk as much specifically about their new features. So when I remember a few years ago now, this page used to be super populated with a list, maybe 2 years ago, super populated with a list of features that they were planning to come out as offline, variety of stuff. But actually, they've really changed their approach on this, and they've kept a lot of the stuff guarded now. So Notion, as many of you know, have been putting out updates quite regular, probably once a month now. And some of the more recent updates have been absolutely fantastic. If we cut to their more modern release page, let me skip back to this one. You can see that some of their stability side of stuff has been pretty consistent. And this is great news because I think Notion needed to build that infrastructure. They've increased speed of the pages. They've added small features like tables. They've added things that you wouldn't expect, and small things that people have been, I guess, moaning about or saying they want for a while. And they've actually been getting to it, which is great news. Where I would personally like Notion to go is more towards the dashboardization of their experience. And what I mean by that is using more contextual data that was already nested inside of your Notion account. That's how I personally want them to go as a sort of long-time user. But at the same time, I know that it might be a longer time until we get that. But I think in between, I'm not going to say anything, but I just don't know whether the fact that the applied machine learning focus with Michael Manapat's last job was that. I don't know whether they'll be introducing any machine learning features in the next couple of years, or at least at this event. I think that they will talk about the sort of next year, because they've hit this point where the API is like out there, it's being used, but it's like, right, how do we go to the next level with Notion? And we've got a lot of focus on Teams, but how do we go to the next level in making this a more team experience? Because whilst it is, I think it does lack some features that some other applications do have, and I would personally like to see. So I'm actually super interested about the way that they're going to approach this roadmap and tell us what's next. So I will be covering that, and I'm very excited. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them there. Michelle, sorry. Yeah, so Walker, Patrick mentioned about the whole event, can't capture whole event, saying whether they'll be available. All the videos will be available 48 hours after the event on the Notion YouTube channel. But you can also, I think Michelle was also pointing here towards that the hop-in events that you can see here will actually have, am I sharing it? Share. They will actually have the details there, which is awesome. So also as well, the team are in this chat as well, and it looks like they're sort of just saying and mentioning stuff. So it's really cool that they're there. Feel free to pop any questions in the chat. We'll sort of gear up. If you want to go and get a cup of tea, you can. We've still got a little bit of time. It looks like we've got 10 minutes now, which is perfect time to brew a cup of tea or a coffee. And it'd be great to hear what people think. So there's a comment that's come in. I really want to know if they will have a feature to check the print layout. There isn't any option to know what's covered in each page before printing. Yeah, that's a little bit of a pain. I assume they'll just pick up on this as they go. But at the same time, you know, it's probably something they're not going to announce specifically, but I reckon they will probably get to that eventually. What would you like to see in the next version of Notion if they did an update today? I saw the other day that Coda did a pretty big update, Notion Coda 3, and they introduced some really nice stuff there. Some stuff that Notion already had. I would have a video on it available tomorrow if anybody fancies watching it. And if you're new here, do subscribe. However, you know, I think they're much more geared up for Teams than Notion is, but it'd be really interesting to see how they're doing. So Ashley says, hope to see a personal mode toggle switch in Notion to switch off team-related features for people using it for personal use. How likely do you think that is? It's a really good question. I think because they have a workspace element to it now where you can switch between personal and work, I think that's probably set. However, there's nothing saying in the future where the onboarding might be more part of that experience. But again, for example, like what I'm saying here is the onboarding is they ask you food prompting questions, and then they're able to modify the sort of experience based on how you answer those questions. And as you can imagine, like an opportunity for them there. I don't know whether people... It's hard because like there are apps like ClickUp that do this. For example, like they have this like switch on add-ons mode, but it kind of gets a bit you can do some of this in Notion right now. For example, I don't know whether you've seen, but you can customize the pages much more now. So you can actually do this more. Like, for example, you can remove those commenting, you can modify the properties and things like that. But yeah, I can see what you mean. This is, again, something they probably need to put some attention into, just for the pure fact that the teams that are, for example, using it are likely to use it as a personal tool as well. Good question. Yeah, so I think we're coming up to the sort of 10-minute mark. What I'll do a few minutes before is I'll actually just cut to the event, and what we'll do is we'll zoom in, and I'll go quiet, and then I'll scream if they do release something cool. So Marlon, hi Marlon, new here, is block by block where Notion shows off new features. Just as a recap, Notion is basically in their sort of opening keynote, which we'll be covering in a few moments, is showcasing. I'm just going to zoom in on the text here just to make things super clear for everyone so that we know what we got coming up. They are going to be discussing Notion's roadmap, new feature releases. Whether that means new feature releases or things that have just been released, that's hard to say. It would sort of be a bittersweet if they did just go, we just released, Notion in French. And it's like, we knew that before the event. I don't know. But, and they'll also show how they'll help you create a more connected company. But I think it's important. This is probably the importance, is whether and where Notion will talk about that. Oh, somebody said, Alex said, so this is not the official stream? It's not. It's just me rambling. But it is going to cover the keynote. So we're going to cover the first 30 minutes, and you'll be able to watch it through here if you want to. I will disappear. I will make as little noise as possible, and you can watch it here. However, if you want to watch the full day, you can sign up through the link in the description and get excited for it. You can see this is what you'll get in terms of the layout. We've got 7.5 minutes until we're actually... Alex, I noticed that I'm on Keep Productive channel. Yeah, that means it's work. That means the marketing's work for this. The fact that everyone's everyone's jumping in. I'll try and answer these ones. My biggest hope for the future of Notion is offline storage capability, but I recognize how much of a big challenge that must be for them. Yeah, recently, since I agree with you, Seth, more recently, we've been doing our own app development with Bento, which is a new project been working on. Shameless plug, it's in the link in the description. And it's really development. I don't even do it in development, like harder than you expect. So yeah, Seth, I think it's going to be something that people have been long awaited for. So if they say that at the event, I think people will freak out. I love this comment down here. Quan Yu said, refreshing Notion release page for new updates. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be doing that. 6.5 minutes until we cut to the opening link. Thank you, Seth, for the question. Anyway, you have a great channel and done remarkable work with it. Love from India. Thank you. I appreciate that. Chen Hui, hopefully you got that pronunciation right. Will Notion provide an encrypted feature to hide contents or pages? I think this is something a lot of people are thinking about encryption side of stuff. So as you can imagine, maybe on the cards, a lot of applications are focusing on it more recently. So we'll see. I would like offline and encryption. That would be very cool. But let's see. Seth, excited for Bento. I'm excited too. Thank you, Seth, for the support. You can check out the link in the description, anyone who's curious about Bento. How do you like their new dark mode? I actually only discovered it yesterday, Marlon. It's mad. I'm super slow to Notion stuff these days, but very cool. I think what they've done with it is slightly just cleaned up. It's more contrast based, I think. I think that's what the wording is. So yeah, I think they've done a great job of it. Justin DeRose has just joined. Great YouTube channel. You should check it out. Still effective remote work, right? have a look. Just have a look at Justin's channel. I'll try and cover as many. We've got 5 minutes. Should be all right. Are you planning to take a look at any type? They're currently in sign up alpha. I did a while ago, Alex, and I wasn't really that overwhelmed in terms of what they did, but maybe they've added more stuff. So I will keep an eye on it. Thank you for the nudge. Dave, really hoping they talk about the rollover from to their .com rather than staying on SO. Yeah, I didn't know this till I was on a call with Steve Doddo like a couple of years ago, and they were like, he was like, .so's the Somalian domain name, and I was like, really? I just thought that was, and they've really made it quite popular. It's really cool that they've done that. However, Notion.com, I'm sure, would be super expensive. Crikey. I wouldn't like to know, like to get to that stage and then to be releasing a Notion.com. That'd be crazy. Yep, Justin's DeRose is still effective remote work. Check him out. Ian, is there any way to create recurring tasks? Have they released an update on this? No, they haven't. It's really a mismatch way to actually do recurring tasks at the moment. It's quite a methodical manual way. Justin said, in the bento beta, I'm liking the idea of once I wrap my head around the method. Thanks, mate. You can check out shameless plug again. It's like turning into a bento plug. You can check out the waitlist below for our new app coming soon, Bento. It's complementary to Notion, actually. The great thing is you could use it alongside Notion. Just saying, everyone. So we're going to start the event in 3 minutes. 3 minutes 18. Okay. I might refresh this page and see whether it's changed, because let's just see what it does. This is where it boots me out, and it okay. So they haven't released the stages yet, but we'll shortly be there. We'll be covering the keynote. I'll be going quiet, and then we'll be overviewing the event. So yeah, exciting stuff. I doubt anyone's got time for a cup of tea, but 2 minutes, 2 minutes 44 seconds. Any final questions? Dave just put, the problem is that a lot of companies, including my own, block.so, and I can't access Notion while I'm at work. Total first world problem. Yeah, I think it's actually something that some places have opened it up because it's become popular. But yeah, I remember when I found that out, I was like, wow, I didn't realize they went with that. I don't know enough about tech to comment, really. Let's see. I saw someone there from Bristol. Wow. That's near where we're from. It's really cool. Anyway, guys, let's enjoy the event. We've got 2 minutes to go. I'm going to go quiet now and put full focus on this. So see you in a minute. Anyone throughout this can also leave comments throughout that. I'll still be active in the background if you wanted to add any comments. And I'll just open a microphone when I'm actually raving about a feature. If we see some, hopefully we'll see some. Exciting updates though. Okay, super interesting. As soon as you get to the like zero on the timer, they go another timer. But fair enough, because else you're like jump on the next one. So we're just waiting now for the official 4 minutes and 23 seconds to join the main stage. Ooh. Can I just check that everyone can hear the music that's playing? If everybody says something in the chat, that'd be great. I'll also turn this full screen in a minute as well, so don't worry. I'll make sure I'm on HD. 1080p. Oh, that means people are going to be slightly behind. Can't hear. Oh, thank you, Justin. I can hear it on my side, which is the pain, isn't it? It's got lovely jazz music, and I'm going to hopefully... I was assured by their team that you'll be able to hear it. Can you hear it? No music coming through. Can we just double check now? I think I've done a few changes. There it is. Thank goodness. Woohoo! Can everyone hear jazz music? Because this is the... Thank you. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Justin. And Mustafa and Seth and Alex. And everyone else in the chat. Let's get ready for this. I'm like in full hype mode for this. Full hype mode. We have still got 3 or 4 minutes, I believe. Let's hide this. Let's get the full experience. Perfect vibe. So this is weird as well, because this music was the music playing when I went to their office in San Francisco. I think they have like a real passion for the sort of jazzy vibe music, and it was, oh god, like their office was somewhere where you'd want to work, like just minimal and like really nice. I don't know what it looks like now as much, but yeah, if I get the chance to design an office. Ashley put Toy Story vibes, yeah. Seth thinking perfect vibe. What do you think? Is this you gonna hit up Spotify, everyone, for this playlist after? Is Notion gonna release the playlist for this? I'm so glad everyone can hear it. Feels like we're in like a really posh elevator. So just to recap, the first one will be with Ivan Zhao, who is the CEO of Notion. He'll be joined by Olivia, who is their Chief Revenue Officer. Oh, wait. Oh, they cut to another song. Absolute trolls. Michael Manapat at Engineering. Just to recap that. And it should be interesting because we're going to see more about the roadmap, more about all of that sort of stuff. New features, new feature releases. I wonder what that will be. I mean, I'm going to be muting this, but if I manage to just... if they release something really exciting, I'll freak out. I hope people don't mind. Where's everyone watching this from? Yeah, Jared. Great chill music. I feel more productive already. Agree. If anybody does want to post reactions about this, I probably just will pop them in there. I'll pop them in the chats as well. I'll put them like this. Like that. So everyone can enjoy. I think we only have about a minute left, shortly. Oh, is this it? Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ivan, Notion's co-founder and CEO. Before we get started with today's program, I want to address the tragic events in Ukraine. I'm horrified by the reports I'm seeing on the news and the unbearable loss of life. We recognize what a privilege it is for us to be able to talk about our company and our community at this moment in time. I want to say that on behalf of Notion, our hearts go out to everyone affected by this war. It was important for me to say this before we move on to today's program. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Block by Block, a whole day dedicated to organizing your work and life. Here at Notion, we believe everyone in the world should be able to use and build software that works exactly the way they want it to extend their thoughts, to collaborate better, and to do more of what matters. Whether you use Notion on your own, to lead a team, or run a company, we want to give you everything you need to create new connections with people, tools, and ideas. That's what today is all about. With new feature launches, exclusive demos, expert panels, and special guests. But most importantly, it's about showcasing you, our amazing global community, and how you push the limits on what this product does every single day. Here's just a small sample from around the world.
I started using Notion in late 2019. I started cheating on another service. What can I say? We hit it off right away.
I'm in love with Notion. I try to do everything in Notion.
A new idea pops up, I open Notion.
On dating apps, it fully turns into a conversation about Notion.
It's a reflection of who you are.
The more I used it, the more I had those little aha moments.
I decided to actually quit my job and do a Notion consultant full time right now.
Oh, this for a team is a game changer.
We needed a big area where we could keep everything from important information like our logins to standard answers to questions.
Having it all in one place and being able to move things between top-level pages and different subspaces within Notion just feels so natural.
Notion has become our source of truth across the board.
We started with the templates. Now I'm helping enterprises bring ideas to actions.
Anyone in the team can see what projects anybody else is working on. Different teams have access to each other's workspaces.
I show the new employees our employee handbook, which we call the Fig Manual. I start with quick links to like our lunch menu, as well as benefits information. If we just constantly add to the Fig Manual, the tool can so easily grow with us. It's not something we have to rebuild every year.
It's become like our shared brain.
And that is what Notion makes possible more than anything else, the ability to record and manage thoughts.
It kind of blows my mind that this piece of software that I didn't know anything about 3 years ago has changed my life to the extent it has.
We're so grateful for all your support. And now, let's welcome our MCs, David and Alex, to the stage to kick things off.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone.
And welcome to Block by Block 2022.
I'm David, the real-life person behind the David at Notion drawing that pops up in your workspace whenever we have an announcement.
And I'm Alex, the voice of Notion on all of our social channels. That's at Notion HQ on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and now TikTok.
We're so excited to be here, and for you to be here with us. This event has been a long time in the making, and we can't wait to dive in with our keynote, previewing new features, expert panels with some of our customers and creators, special guests, and much more.
To quote one of my favorite characters, New York's hottest club is Block by Block. This place has everything: new features, live jazz, Pulitzer Prize winner Ira Glass, and legendary lifestyle mogul Martha Stewart. Whether you're looking to organize your life or collaborate better with your team, we guarantee you'll walk away with new ideas, insights, and tools to do more of what matters to you.
But quickly, before we get to all of that, let's just talk about how you can navigate this event today. To review the full agenda of today's event, just click the reception button here at the top left.
To make it easy for you to see the content you're most interested in, we have two stages today. This stage is our main stage, where we'll host the keynote, our guest speakers, as well as all of the sessions sharing best practices for teams and companies. The other stage will feature personal productivity sessions. You can switch stages at any time using the stage icon.
We're also going to have office hours that you can find on the left side after our first guest speaker. Here you can speak directly to a member of our team and just learn more about using our Notion platform, using Notion for docs and wikis, or advanced project management too. Check this out if you're looking for how-tos and tips.
Now, if you look to the right side of your screen, you'll see the chat going on inside this session. We'd love it if you'd say hi and let us know where in the world you're watching from. And a quick favor, please take a look at the code of conduct to help us make sure that this event is safe and fun for everyone.
And if you have any questions throughout any of the sessions today, just ask them in the chat. A whole group of Notion teammates is keeping an eye out to respond to you or just point you in the right direction.
And if you want to join in on the excitement on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok, make sure to tag us at Notion HQ.
Lastly, we have a whole Notion workspace just for everyone here at Block by Block. Just go to notion.com/blockbyblock to find digital goodies, ranging from templates mentioned during the day to the desktop wallpapers. It's also home to more ways to get involved with us and FAQs.
Now, let's welcome our CEO and co-founder, Ivan, back to the stage to kick off our keynote. For those of you just joining, we're so excited to get a sneak peek at features and programs that will change and define the Notion experience in the coming year. Ivan, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Block by Block 2022. I'm Ivan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Notion, and I'm here today at Notion HQ in San Francisco. Before we start, I just want to say that I'm very humbled by all the love in that video and very honored to be speaking to so many of you today. This is our second conference for our customers and our community. Last year at this event, we had over 10,000 registered attendees. Today, we have 3 times as many people joining from over 150 countries around the world. So much of this growth is because of you. I want to thank you for using Notion, for bringing to work with you, and showing others what Notion can do. Most of all, thank you for all the feedback. Every day, it helps us make Notion the best tool for you, whether you're using it by yourself or run a company with thousands of people. As we kick off this event, it's always important to reflect on why we're here. At Notion, our mission as a company is to make software toolmaking ubiquitous. Our goal is to help every person and every team on the planet to use software that best fit their needs, and to experience this joy of customizing tools that work exactly how you want them to work. The desire to improve our tools has always been core to our human nature. But in the last couple of years, the pandemic and remote work has really sped this up. As we stay at home, these little software windows on our screens are how we work with each other, how we connect with our communities, and how we experience the world. But in many ways, our places of work are now evolving quite as quickly, and it's fueling this trend of people leaving their jobs, feeling burned out, and craving a deeper connection. We hope that by giving you a customizable software toolkit like Notion, we can help companies adapt faster to this changing world. But more importantly, help you feel a deeper connection to your work and to the people you work with. Connection is the theme for our keynote today. On this theme, we'll share new features that help teammates stay informed and organized as your company grows. We'll demo new database features that help you organize your information in powerful ways and connect with more tools outside Notion. And we'll talk about new programs for our user community to connect with our customer base and continue to evolve this global ecosystem that you're part of. Once again, thank you for being here with us. We would not be here without you. And I just want you to know that we truly, truly love building this product for you. Right now, let's focus on what's next for Notion. And I want to pass the mic to our head of engineering, Michael. He will walk you through some of the new features we're working on in Notion. Michael, take it away.
Thanks, Ivan. I'm happy to be here to share what we have coming soon at Notion. For the last several months, our product team has been focused on 3 themes: helping Notion scale with teams as they grow, making Notion more customizable, particularly when collaborating with others, and making Notion the nexus for all of your work, work that can span multiple tools. All of these themes, we hope, will help you achieve the connection that Ivan spoke about. And we're excited to show you 3 new products that will help you connect better with your teams and your tools. The first of these releases we call Teams. Teams will make it much easier for everyone to organize their work, access what they need, and fluidly collaborate in the same workspace. If you're here, you've seen how the Notion sidebar is structured today. It has 3 sections, one for your private docs, one for docs you've shared with others, and one for your entire workspace, where information is accessible to everyone you work with. But as I'm sure many of you have experienced, that workspace section, when you have hundreds or thousands of people in the same workspace, can become difficult to manage. To mention just a few issues, the list of pages in the sidebar can get long and unwieldy, making discovery difficult. You may want to have some sections that everyone should be able to view, but only members of a particular team can edit, say your HR handbook. And you may want to control who can modify the hierarchy of your workspace. With Teams, we're addressing these and related concerns so that Notion scales seamlessly even to the largest workspaces. Teams will let you create distinct teams like design, engineering, and marketing, each with its own section in the sidebar. You can create whatever type of teams you need, long-lived ones or temporary cross-functional ones, say for planning a conference, with all of the relevant documents and databases in one place. You can make a team open to everyone in your workspace or keep it private if needed. Of course, we don't want information to be siloed by default, so page linking, search, sharing, and all of the collaboration primitives you're used to in Notion will still work seamlessly across teams. Importantly, team admins will be able to control permissions in a granular way. You can specify people outside your team can view your team and its content, edit it, or neither. And you can curate the content that appears in the sidebar with appropriate permissions so things don't get too cluttered. You can also add guests from outside your workspace to your team. Maybe your marketing team is working with a design agency on billboards and they need access to design docs, like nothing else. Now you can add guests just to that outdoor marketing team. We've also made it possible to curate your sidebar with just the teams you interact with regularly or need visibility into. You can join the teams that are relevant to you and hide teams that aren't. Our goal here is to help keep you focused precisely on the information that you need. Let me turn to a quick demo now so you can see what I mean. For the purposes of this demo, I'm a member of the marketing team at Acme Corp. My goal is to stay focused only on the work relevant to me, so I'm a member of just 3 teams. First, there's the Acme HQ team. This is what we call a default team, one that everyone in the workspace, in this case, everyone at Acme Corp, is automatically a member of. Default teams are a good place for foundational documentation relevant to everyone. For example, company goals, or your employee handbook with benefits information. Then there's my immediate team, marketing. And finally, a team I work with closely, design. But let's say we're in the middle of planning our annual user conference.
I don't know whether you can
We
see
want
there
a
as
single
well. There's
place
a
for
there's a
everyone
new
working on the conference from
database.
across different functions to produce,
That's a
view,
different
and edit
database, I
content.
think.
Let's create a team for that. Our conference is going to be called Acme World 2022. And we can put in a description for the team so that people who are browsing teams can see what each one is about. We have a choice between keeping the team open so everyone in the workspace can join, or closed, so it's limited just to people who are invited. We value transparency at Acme, so let's keep the team open. As part of creating a team, I can invite initial team members. Let's add Fatima from engineering and Andrew from design to start. As the team creator and owner, I can control a number of granular permissions. We can specify whether people outside the team have full access or whether they can only view or comment on content. We can also disable sharing to the web. As many of you know, any Notion page can be published to the web. We have some surprise speakers at Acme World, so I'll turn off the option to share to the web to make sure this information doesn't get published. We can also prevent people from reordering the team's top-level sidebar items. This is important when you're curating items for large teams. For example, the Acme HQ team. But given our cross-functional team is relatively tight, I'll leave this option off. Okay, let's get to work. I'll start by creating a page for the Keynote address. For this Keynote, we're working with an outside agency to produce the presentation. I want that agency to have access to everything in the Acme World 2022 team, but nothing beyond that. That's easy to do now. I can just go back to team settings and add members of the agency directly. I'll skip doing that right now. We're going to spend a lot of time in the Keynote talking about upcoming product launches, so I'll need to collaborate closely with our product and engineering team. I need to know exactly what they plan to ship and when. I'll join this team, which adds it to my sidebar, and now I have easy access to the information that I need. My sidebar has a lot more content now, so let me reorganize it so that the most important spaces are at the top. I can always click on a team name to collapse a section and hide all the subpages until I need them. Okay, let's fast forward a bit. Acme World has happened and was a huge success. There's no reason for us to have the Acme World 2022 team anymore because we're moving on to our next project. We can just go back to project settings and archive the team. And I don't need to stay in sync with the product team as much, at least for a little while, so I'll leave that team. My sidebar is back to the clean, focused state it was in before planning for Acme World began. Our goal in building teams was to scale with you as your companies grow, to make it easier to collaborate within and between teams at scale. Teams will start rolling out gradually this spring, and we can't wait to hear what you think. Next, I'm excited to show you a major upgrade to Notion databases that will make it easier for teams to view shared data in new ways. For all these reasons, we call this better databases. This one's best experienced in action, so let's do a quick walkthrough. We are back in the Acme workspace. Let's say Acme has just finished annual planning, and I'm an employee who wants to take a closer look at the company goals. As you can see, these goals are sorted by priority, and there are quick filters for theme, department, and status. If I want to see only the goals that are about hitting revenue targets, that's just a couple of clicks away. And when I explore the data with these quick filters, I'm only changing my view of the goals, not anyone else's. Before, this wasn't possible. Applying a filter like this would change the view for everyone else. Company goals are central to everyone at the company, so I probably don't want to do that lightly. Quick filters make this type of nuance possible. Now,
I like quick filters.
it would be really useful for
That's nice.
everyone at Acme to be
You've
able
done a
to
good job
filter
with
by
that.
priority. So let's add a filter for that. Again, when I change the configuration in this way, I'm only altering my view of this database. But filtering by priority will be generally useful for other people. So I'm going to hit this Save for Everyone button to make this priority quick filter something that everyone else can see and use. I'm on a roll and thinking through what else would be helpful for me and my team. I love a view of company goals grouped by department, so let's quickly add that. To do that, I'll click Add View and give that view a name. I'll also make a couple of these properties visible on each card so you can see more information at a glance. Now, I'll set the grouping to View by Department, and this really shows off another big change. All the configuration options for your view are now in this one simple panel, neatly organized and easily accessible. As you can see, we've changed the way you can switch between views for easier access. Each view appears as a tab here. Now, it's quick for me to switch from the group department view we just created to the full list of goals. So what's next? I'd love for the marketing team to have a view of just its team's goals on the marketing homepage in Notion, so it's easy for them to reference all the time. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll create a linked view using a handy slash command. I'll look up our company goals database here because that's the data I want to pull into this page. Here, we refer to this as the data source. As you can see, I can now choose which view I want to place here, not just the whole database. This is new for us too. For now, I'll go with the all goals view. Now, when I do this, the database you see here is synced to the one I just showed you on our company goals page. It's not a copy, it's actually the same database. So whatever changes I make to the actual goals it contains will also show up everywhere this database is linked. Now that I have it here on the marketing page, I can make a few clever edits so that this looks good and works the way I want it to. I can hide the original database name. Name if I want, and then I can set the department to marketing to filter for just this team's goals.
I'm really
Again,
sorry, that was my fault.
we'll click Save for everyone so
I
that this
actually
view
pressed pause on the
persists for
video.
everyone who views this page. Now everyone on the marketing team and their collaborators have a single source of truth to reference that will always be connected to the whole company's goals. Looking at this, it's clear I don't need all of these quick filters, so let's remove them like this. I would, however, love to be able to filter for just the goals assigned to me as an individual. In fact, I want it to be easy for all of my colleagues on marketing to be able to quickly view the same. To do this, I will first add a new filter to filter by the owner property. Since I do want everyone to have this ability, I'll save the changes for everyone. Now I can go back to this new quick filter and select me from the menu. Me will be different for every single person on my team. As you can see, this shows me only the goals that I'll be driving. Likewise, my colleague Olivia can activate this filter to see only the goals she'll be driving. Now that we've done all this, let's revert back to our original view. Just click Reset. It's that simple. This was a pretty quick tour, but I hope it gives you a good sense of how better databases let you filter, slice, and dice data in new ways and allow you to keep more of your information connected across pages and teams. So we've talked about better ways to connect teams to each other and to connect information. The third piece of the puzzle is connecting more tools with Notion. We want to make it as easy as possible for information to flow seamlessly between Notion and all the other tools your teams use. Having all of your data in one place will mean less context switching and less siloing. An engineer won't need to go into Salesforce or a salesperson into Jira to find what they need. This was the thinking behind our API beta launch last spring and the Link Previews launch in the fall. Link Previews made it possible to add dynamically updated information from other tools to a Notion page, like a Slack message or a Jira ticket, just by pasting a link. Today, we're taking a few bigger steps in this direction. The first of these steps is something I've wanted and been excited about for as long as I've used Notion. We're calling this product Sync Databases. Sync databases allow you to bring structured data from other tools into Notion and to have that information materialized as a Notion database that remains synced with your original source. I'll show you a preview of how this works with Google Calendar as an example. For this demo, let's say I'm on our user research team, and I work closely with engineering, product, and marketing to share insights from customer interviews. Here's my Google Calendar with all of my appointments, including many of these user research interviews every week. For the most part, all of the research team's documents, interview guides, and project overviews live in Notion, but all my upcoming interviews live in Google Calendar. I would love for all of this information to live side by side in Notion so that my collaborators across teams can see whom I'm speaking to, about what, and when. To give all these teams an up-to-date view of the customer meetings I have scheduled, I can use Sync Databases to bring a view of my Google Calendar directly into Notion, simply by pasting a link to my Google Calendar and authenticating it within my Notion workspace. Now, anyone I'm collaborating with who has access to the user research team's homepage can also see what meetings I have coming up. I can then use Notion database filters to create a view that shows only customer interviews so I can easily share that with other teams. As you can see, the calendar view within Notion stays up to date even if meetings are adjusted in my Google Calendar. For example, if Tommy wants to move his interview, I can adjust it on my Google Calendar and have that change reflected within my Notion workspace immediately. Now, I think the best part of sync databases is that I can connect information in my Google Calendar to other pages and databases within my Notion workspace. For example, let's say I want to capture notes from my upcoming user interview with Tommy. I can create a new document in the team's meeting notes database to record what we talk about. And I can add a relation property to this meeting note to link it to the corresponding appointment on my Google Calendar.
Oh, okay, they're bringing it into relations. Okay, I'm trying to understand this as we go.
Let's say I want to bring in the date and time of the interview into the meeting itself. I can easily do this by adding a new rollup property that will reflect the date and time. Now, I can easily sort all of these interview notes by date and time so that the product folks I regularly collaborate with always know what user insights are freshest. These are just a few of the superpowers that are possible when you bring data from other tools into Notion. Sync databases make it possible for cross-functional teams to understand what's happening, knowing they'll get the most up-to-date view without needing to context switch. Sync databases will be available to use later this year with Google Calendar, Jira, and GitHub, and more integrations to follow. Link previews and sync databases are key parts of Notion's platform, but at the center of our platform is the Notion API. It has been in beta until now. Today, I'm excited to announce that the API is officially out of beta. This is a big milestone for us, especially considering that the API was one of our all-time most requested features. Thousands of people every week let us know how they leverage an API to integrate Notion into broader workflows. During the beta alone, our community of developers grew to over 30,000, and that community built some incredibly useful integrations. You can add appointments to Google Calendar from a Notion database, for example, and you can surface help desk documentation from Notion by invoking a / command in Slack. To mention just two of my personal favorites, you can use Notion as the content management system for a Next.js blog, and you can sync data between Notion and Strava, so all of your running and cycling data can be synced to your Notion workspace. This is perfect for all of the running and blogging about running I wish I were doing more of. With the API out of beta, we now support all block types, including sync blocks, columns, and simple tables. We made it easier to install and improve apps with OAuth and admin controls. We've added and improved our documentation, so it's easier than ever to get started. And we're also making it easier to discover integrations built with the API, so Notion can increasingly become the central hub for all of your work. There's a lot more to come on the Notion platform, more integrations for link previews and sync databases, and API support for both of these, for example. Our work here has really just begun, and we can't wait to see what the developer community does with these tools. All of these products, teams, better databases, sync databases, and the API, were built with our long-term mission in mind, to make it easier for you to craft Notion into exactly the tool you need it to be. And all of them create more connections that make it easier to share information, stay aligned, and act faster. The goal is to make you as productive as possible, while also giving the people you work with room for inspiration and creativity. So you're not just being more effective at old ways of working, you're constantly unlocking innovative productivity. Every day we see this in Notion's global user community. We're blown away by what we see you creating on social media, the templates you're out there sharing and selling, and the workflows you post to Reddit and YouTube. You take the features we build and you make them so much richer. With that, I'd like to invite Olivia Nottebohm, our Chief Revenue Officer, to share more about how the Notion community is growing and changing. Hi, Olivia.
Thank you, Michael. It's so exciting to see new elements that enable the Notion platform to scale with all of you. It's also been wonderful to see the developer community rally around the API and extend Notion's capabilities in so many directions. But there are many more ways in which the Notion community has a profound impact on our users and how Notion itself is growing. As Notion's Chief Revenue Officer, I'll be the first to say it's pretty unusual for someone in my role to be talking about community. But here in Notion, it's an entirely different story. There are two things that convinced me to join Notion. First, the passion our users have for our product, and second, how truly global the Notion users are. You got to see it in the video earlier, and you'll see more of it today. It's truly amazing how international all of you are. Here are just a few numbers that amaze me. There are 175,000 members in the Notion subreddit. Those of you in it are constantly sharing what you build and helping others learn. There are 200,000 users in our Vietnamese Facebook group, and that's just one of dozens of groups like it globally. And just last year, one of our Notion course makers made over $1 million teaching others how to use Notion. How cool is that? He's far from alone in what has become an enormous ecosystem.
That wasn't me, guys. I should like that.
Participates at every stage of our customer journey, not just at the beginning. Yes, community introduces Notion to new people, but it also helps educate new users. Our community helps fellow users scale with Notion, advising thousands of teams in how to adopt more use cases and build in ways that will work for them. Our community is a powerful network that's there to support our customers of all sizes around the world in over a dozen languages. So, for those of you who are part of this remarkable community, our ambassadors, our champions, our administrators, our consultants, and our creators, and so many others, we can't thank you enough for diving in and making Notion useful for millions of people around the world. We are in awe of all you do. Now, to keep up with all of you, we always want to be launching and growing new programs to support your work and help you grow with Notion in new ways. We want each of you to reach your own personal goals, whether that means building your own community of followers, running a high-impact business helping others use Notion, or accelerating your career with your Notion expertise. For all of you today, we would like to announce 2 programs to help with these goals. First is the Notion Certification Program, and second is our Notion Champions Program. So let's dive in with the Notion Certification Program. This is for power users to get official credentials as external consultants and internal administrators. And starting today, anyone can apply to take an exam to earn a Notion badge. This is for people who want to use their advanced Notion skills to help build their own career, either as an independent contractor or as an internal expert. Now, turning to our community of prospective certified consultants. We've been working with a small pilot group of folks and have been completely blown away by the hundreds of teams they've helped. Their businesses have inspired us. And based on those learnings, we want to expand this group of consultants around the world and build out a directory for our customers to find the supports they need for any use case in any country and in any language. So if you're interested in becoming this type of expert, working with teams, and being part of a directory where users can find you, go to notion.com/certified to learn more.
I want a Notion badge.
We'd love for you to get certified and
I
be
actually
part
genuinely
of that
do.
Notion consultant community. The other part of our certification
looking at
program
fast
is
track.
for our emerging Notion administrators. We see you. We know how you as power users rise to become the Notion people within your organizations. We see you developing workspaces, evolving them, and ensuring others on your team and in your company get value from Notion. Some have even called you the Chief Notion Officer. You do so much to train people and truly bring this tool to life. Every day, we see how the Chief Notion Officer is becoming a profession actually of its own, and we're excited to help even more people add this skill set to their resume. If you're interested in getting certified as an official Notion administrator and creating beautiful Notion workspaces for your teammates, we're launching a track of our certifications program for you specifically. And you can learn more at notion.com/certified. We really hope you apply. Now, the second thing we want to announce today is our Notion Champions community for all Notion enthusiasts who help set up their teams for success. This is for folks who may not be administrators, but are passionate enthusiasts inside organizations who want to stay connected and up to date with all things Notion. We want to give you a place and resources to connect with each other, really across the world and even across other organizations. This will be a place for you to swap tips, speak directly with us, and get access to unique trainings and templates. We've been testing this for several months. Through the Notion Champion community, you will get early access to features so we can incorporate your feedback, direct connection with our team for AMAs, workshops, and support, best practices that we are gathering for you, and trainings we've seen to be especially effective at scale. If this sounds interesting or helpful to you or your company, you can go to notion.com/champions. And please do send along anyone else you know who might be interested. Many companies are already represented in this community, and we can't wait to scale to more, all toward the goal of creating more healthy, adaptive, connected companies. I'm very excited to add these two programs, both the certifications and the champions community, to our growing list of ways you, our community, can get involved and partner with us. Bringing this full circle, I want to note again how global all of this is. From the very beginning, more people use Notion outside the US than inside, and that continues today. In fact, when I told people I was joining Notion, my cousins in Argentina wrote to me telling me how ecstatic they were because they use Notion every day. This unique growth has been entirely enabled by our community, helping us bring people in from all over the world. Now we want to invest even more in our international users. We launched Korean as our first non-English language, and then Japanese last year. And just last month, which I'm super excited about, we made the product available in French. It's currently in beta, and we'd love to hear your feedback. We're now headed toward a robust series of language launches throughout this year. Spanish is coming, so stay tuned. Everything we do for community, we do internationally. The community programs I mentioned are international. The many templates we publish on our website are available to everyone globally, and the creators we support come in from all over the world. Through it all, we want to make sure we're supporting our international users. And that's where I'll leave this story for now, so we can get on with the rest of the show. We're so excited to see what you build this year with Notion. We're so excited to see the teams you build and the businesses you build. Our product features are just a launching point. We love to see you build beyond what we could have ever imagined. Thank you so much for all of your energy, kindness, and enormous creativity. We hope you enjoy your time with us today, seeing all of this in action across people's lives and work. And now back to our lovely MCs, David and Alex.
Okie dokie, folks.
Thank you, Olivia, Michael, and Ivan. You know, I've been at Notion for 2 years now, and I've seen a lot of features and launches, but the updates that Michael just shared are definitely
releasing
standouts.
anything else. I'll do that in the background.
I've been looking forward to
So
the team
that
sidebar
was
ever since I saw
the
a mock-up
event.
in our shared
If
Figma
you
workspace.
want you can go back and rewind this if you wanted to watch the full event from the start. It started about 30 minutes into this broadcast, so you can go back to that. Now, I just want to quickly overview some of the more recent Notion releases that were covered in particular here. So let's start with the first product ones, and then what we'll do is we'll probably wrap everything up. So it looks like the first key one was the sidebar abilities. Now, the new sidebar abilities really break down the sidebar in Notion to being less page focused and more team focused. So as you can watch this video on their blog. However, the new version allows you to create public or private teams and curate your sidebar a bit more. And you can see from the video that I'm going to play here, you can see here that the teams look a lot different, and you can actually have and browse teams down here, but you can also see your private area as well. So you can still have those pages, but they're just sort of nested in there a little bit more sophisticated than it was previous. I'm just going to go on to the next update, which was the better databases. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it could have had a better title than better pages. I don't know. But this is quite interesting because you can see here that quite predominantly they focused on the filtering. And as you can see here, you can now save everyone to go externally. I also want to point some focus at the new view options. Just trying to find it in this video. But when you go to properties, I believe you'll be able to see a upgraded viewing layout. So here we go. Let's just see what it is in here. So you can see here that this new tables, board, timeline, calendar list, it looks just a lot more sophisticated in terms of how to actually implement it. So there's also the element of synced databases, which when I saw, I was like, okay, how's this going to work? But what I particularly liked about this was that what they did in the demonstration is literally just copied the calendar and pasted it in. It seemed to understand it. And I think what Notion are doing here is actually taking a direct hit at Microsoft Loop. So you can paste as a database and make it available. And it's a two-way sync, what I believe is, in which you can share with your team members too. So it feels very sophisticated, and I think that's great news for their new additions. Now you can see here that they're officially out of beta with the APIs, so they'll be adding more granular functionality for the developer experience to be improved. And you can now join the Notion Certified and Notion Champions by going to notion.com/certified or notion.com/champions, which is 2 new programs that they do have. So if you're interested, the actual event is carrying on. I believe Ira Glass is speaking right now, where he'll dive into the creative experience. One thing I'd say about the event is it was really well produced. I don't know about what other people think in the chat, but I think it was really well done. And I think that's great news. It just gives that delivery and that focus. And I think what they did with the updates is actually nice updates in terms of just building on the user experience. There wasn't anything specific like offline or anything like that, but there was actually seems like a lot more granular focus. And it seems like they know that the team side of thing is a business, but also that the creator and builder element is really key, and something that coders actually realized as well and have put a lot of time and attention into. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here, but I just want to say a huge thank you for tuning in here on Keep Productive. If you're new here, please do hit subscribe. I want to point everyone towards the Notion Mastery course, which is run by Marie Poulin. She will be linked in the description below. I don't know whether she's a creator that made $1 million from the first year of courses. I actually don't know, but you can check it out below. It is an affiliate link that is in there, but I highly recommend her course. The other thing as well is if you fancy check out my new project, Bento, it's in the link in the description too. But I just want to say a warm thank you to everyone who's joined in, subscribed, and listened along to this Notion conference. You can check it out. I believe the hop-in will be available with the recordings after the full day, but the YouTube channel that is, just type in Notion HQ into YouTube, will actually be available 48 hours after this. So expect on Friday some weekend watching if you fancied it. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you so much for joining Keep Productive here for this watch along, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Cheerio.